What is going on, guys? I am back from my 2-weekish hiatus that wasn't really announced or anything, but it totally happened, and I'm feeling quite good about YouTube right now. I'm super excited to be making videos, and to kick off the beginning of this new journey I am setting on, I would like to talk about something that is kind of fundamental as far as me, my YouTube channel, and anime in general goes. Since the majority of content on my channel is about One Piece, of course, there are a few other animes and manga that I talk about, as well as I do some weird random videos sometimes. The vast majority is One Piece. You can definitely call me a One Piece channel. So what I want to talk about in this video is both how I got into anime and manga, as well as how I, well, got into One Piece, because that was the point where things really took off for me as far as anime and manga go. So with that being said, I don't think I need much more of an introduction. Let's just get into this shit. So my anime journey all starts in, I believe it was 2nd grade, when Avatar: The Last Airbender started airing, and I started watching it every time an episode would come out. Yeah, okay, no, we're not doing that. If you think that Avatar is an anime, you just don't know what you're talking about. So no. In reality, the first time I ever was exposed to an anime was probably around 3rd grade, I'd like to say, when my cousin started watching Naruto, and I think he even started reading the manga or something. I'm not really sure on all the details, but I know that he was into it, and he tried getting me to watch it, and I kind of had seen, I think, like, maybe One Piece and Bleach and Inuyasha and Naruto or something on Toonami, and it seemed very strange to me. I think it kind of had that stigma at the time, which is weird because I was in 3rd grade. I'm surprised that kind of stuff even existed, but it was pretty strong back then. So I just kind of ignored him. I didn't really want to get into the whole thing. But come a year later, and I went on vacation with his family. We all hung out and stuff, and we were just like chilling in the pool I think we had in this vacation house we were staying in, and he was explaining the plot to me, and I'm like, oh, you know what, that sounds pretty cool. And he said I could just watch every episode on YouTube, and this was before like on demand was really a thing, so I'd never really had the ability to just watch every episode of something in a row, no problem, whenever I want. So it was pretty intriguing, to say the least, and I did respect my cousin a lot. So the next morning, I got up early and started watching this stuff on YouTube, and it was fucking awesome. For the last like 3 days of our vacation or whatever it was, I watched probably 20 episodes of Naruto a day, and my parents and everyone were making fun of me, like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you wasting your vacation? But I really, really was into the show. I'd never seen anything quite like it before, except, actually, ironically, maybe Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it isn't really the same thing anyway. But it was so good, I just couldn't stop watching, and I was super enthused about the whole situation. So was my cousin. It was something I had never done before, and I was getting really into it. So by the time I caught up, I believe it was at the very end of the Kazekage rescue arc, episode like 30 or 31, something like that. And I was still in 4th grade, so I was still just a youngin'. And I watched every episode that came out on Thursdays immediately after I got home from school for years, actually. I probably was watching Naruto with nothing else for maybe 2 or 3 years. I just followed that series alone. I didn't really know anything about anime and whatnot. And you have to understand that I was in like 4th to 6th grade at this time. So I was going through puberty, and I was just a really I'm still a very dramatic person, but back then everything was just so crazy, and I thought this show was basically the Bible. It was significantly more important than the Bible. I thought that Naruto was just the coolest character I'd ever seen, which is really funny because I don't really like Naruto that much as a character anymore. I think he fits the show very well. I think he's a great main character for it. I just don't personally like him that much. Where back then I thought that, like, I wanted to be like him. I wanted to have some kind of like dark backstory, and I feel like I tried to pretend that I did, but that was really fucking stupid because I have the complete opposite of a dark backstory. Like, it's really insane how deluded I was at the time. I mean, that shit was literally my life. It was like the most important piece of entertainment I had around me, and the only friend I really had to talk to about it was my cousin, and he was going through some shit in middle school and whatnot too, and he was older than me anyway, so we ended up not even really talking anymore. So it was really just me watching this show and not having anyone to talk to it about because it was considered weird and stuff. But so after that 2 to 3 year period of me worshiping the show Naruto and thinking it's the greatest thing that ever graced this earth, and this doesn't really change in this next scene here, but I'm over my cousin's house, the same one I've been talking about, for a family party, and he calls me into his parents' office where the computer is, and he shows me some clips from this other anime he's been watching called Attack on Titan. Now, I don't really understand the purpose of people doing this in general. He was just showing me one of the fighting scenes in it and how cool it was, and I should watch the series. I personally don't get that. Whenever I get spoiled on something, it just makes me want to see it even less. But he seemed really enthused about it, and he pointed out that when he recommended Naruto to me, I was not that happy about the whole idea, but I eventually conceded, and then it was my favorite thing ever. So I'm like, you know what? I'll give this a shot too. So I ended up watching Attack on Titan, and it was cool. I liked it. I probably would give it a 7 out of 10 at the time. I didn't think it was anything compared to Naruto, but it was definitely something interesting. I enjoyed watching, and I had no problem, especially thanks to the cliffhanger in every single episode. It wasn't the same thing, but it slowly was getting me into anime. Come about a year later after that, and one of my friends recommends this new show that's super popular and everyone likes, Sword Art Online. And I give it a shot after hearing the description of it being in a MMORPG where you actually go into the game and whatnot, and I thought it was a very cool premise. And you know what, guys? Fuck it. I'm gonna admit it. I was 14 or 15 years old at the time. I was super into Sword Art Online when I first started watching it. I understand now as an adult, it just doesn't really do anything for me. I don't know how it could do anything for anyone because it's very bad. But as a kid, basically being someone like Kirito was all I would ever want to be. Okay, I would like to be just somebody who acts like a complete asshole with no social capacity whatsoever, and he's just super cool anyway and everyone likes him. That's not real life at all, but right, I was 14 or 15, so I didn't want life to be real. But so after that, I started to realize, damn, these animes are actually pretty cool, and I started taking more recommendations from this friend who had seen a lot of anime compared to me, despite him actually being younger than me, and I watched a lot of popular shows, and then I became more open to the idea of just watching them in general. Now, here's the thing. One of my best friends, Edic, which if you are a member of the Discord, you kind of might know him. He doesn't show up that often, but when he does, he usually creates quite a scene. He came over to America from China when we were in 6th and 7th grade. I would be in 6th, he would be in 7th. And he had seen Naruto and One Piece and a few of the really, really, really popular animes and manga. So I was always talking to him about Naruto and shit, and I just thought it was the greatest thing ever. And he always tried telling me to watch One Piece because he thought it was a lot better. I had recalled seeing a few scenes from Toonami of One Piece as a kid, and I didn't really understand how it could be very good. I didn't really like the whole idea of pirates, and I knew that Luffy had some ability revolving around him being made of rubber, and none of this sounded interesting to me, so I always just kind of brushed him off, especially when he told me it was 500 episodes or something. I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of gonna backseat that one for now. But then one night, I remember we were eating at Qdoba, and for some reason the topic was brought up. He was just mentioning something about a character in One Piece or something. I don't really recall because I didn't know anything about One Piece at the time. But I was feeling particularly sentimental that night for some reason, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should give it a shot. Maybe I'll see if I like One Piece. And in a similar manner to how it was with Naruto, that next morning I got up early and started power watching One Piece. I wasn't particularly planning on power watching it, but I got pretty interested very quickly. I mean, it has a pretty strong entrance with Luffy being Luffy. He hasn't really changed in personality throughout the entire series, so when a main character is thrown at you quite like that, at least in my opinion, you are pretty interested for a good period of time. So over the next few months, I powered through One Piece, finished it in probably 3 or 4-ish months. It was quite a journey. I believe that I was in the middle of the Colosseum arc in Dressrosa when I finally caught up, so that was a little under 700 episodes in a row that I watched with no anime in between that. And once I caught up with the anime, I'm sure you can guess what I did next. Of course, I started reading websites to see when every episode every week would be airing. Yes, that is damn right. I did not start reading the manga. I had never read one before, and I was completely put off by the whole idea. It just didn't really seem like it would be a good idea. I had never done it before, and it makes sense, you know, if you've never read one before, that it wouldn't be as good as the actual show. And I thought, well, I don't really want to just go ahead and ruin the experience for myself, so I'm just going to watch the anime. It's not like this was the first time I'd made a decision like this either. This is how it was for Naruto with me. I never actually have read a single chapter of Naruto. I watched the whole thing to the end, and with any other show that I watched, maybe like 4 or 5 of them, I did not catch up in the manga either. But then around 2.5 years ago, I started my YouTube channel making really shitty Overwatch and gaming videos, and they were really bad. But then I thought, you know, I like One Piece so much, it basically had become my life at this point. It was like the new Naruto for me. All I ever wanted to do was talk about One Piece, and I thought, man, if I actually could like somehow apply this to my YouTube channel, like I had seen different YouTubers such as Tekking and Rogers Base and For Never World and Joy Boy, all of the big people at the time. I liked some of their videos, and I thought, you know, this doesn't seem to be something too hard that they're doing. I'm sure I could talk about One Piece too. Then, of course, I'm like, well, I mean, I can't really do anything if I'm not caught up in the manga. I mean, the majority of people are, and I can't be making theories and stuff if I'm not even caught up with that. That doesn't make sense. No one would want to watch my videos. So, when it was the end of the Zou arc, when in the manga they were getting into Whole Cake Island, me and Kibby Thick Fat Deluxe Special Salisbury Style finally decided to make the giant leap of reading a manga for the first time. And as you can expect, as it goes with basically every person that starts reading manga, it was not just not that hard to do, it was not that boring. It was a significantly better experience than watching the anime. And of course, this doesn't apply to every anime and manga combination, but with One Piece, that is most certainly the case. So, I caught up to the manga, of course, started reading every chapter every week as soon as it came out, and after I had been doing that for a few months, I started applying this to my One Piece channel. I started uploading videos related to One Piece, and as you can expect, that's how my channel started. And once that started happening, I actually started looking for different anime to watch. I was looking stuff up like what's the most popular anime of all time. I'd watch Full Metal Alchemist because of stuff like that. Eventually I watched Steins Gate for that same reason. That happened actually way too recently. That should have happened a lot longer ago. Anytime my friends would recommend me one that's super popular, I'd look it up, and if it was, I'd be like, yeah, I'll give that a shot, and I started watching a lot more. Again, I have not seen nearly as much as most people, but this is pretty recent stuff, honestly. I really have not been into anime that long. And then I also was more than willing to catch up in a lot of mangas if they were ongoing, and I liked the series I was watching. I had decided to get into Attack on Titan, I got into My Hero, I got into Seven Deadly Sins basically as soon as I finished the anime. I was just way more open to all of these good ideas. And that basically takes us to where we are now. I mean, once I caught up with the manga and One Piece, I started my YouTube adventure, and that's where we are, I guess. So, yeah, I watch about one anime a month, I'd say, maybe one every like 3 weeks, and I've kind of been speeding up more recently, getting into less super ultra popular stuff and more seasonal stuff for sure. I've been watching whenever the seasonal stuff comes out, whatever sounds really good, I have been getting into, so that kind of is forcing me to watch a lot more for sure. I definitely want to watch a lot more than I already have. I know all these people have seen like hundreds and hundreds of anime and read tens, at least tens, maybe hundreds of manga, and yeah, it's like, okay, I mean, I thought I've watched a decent amount, but I just don't compare to most people, so I definitely like to get into it more. I'm not really doing too well on the time crunch at the moment, but I think I'm going to end up probably doubling my current count within the next year, if not even more than that. So yeah, nowadays I am a huge fan of anime. I really like the whole idea of it, the whole idea of animation in general. I wish it was a more popular thing in the West, and it actually is becoming more popular for sure, which is super exciting. I think that people really undervalue how good it is to be able to animate something, because it really makes you have a way bigger pool of things that you can do. Nothing really has to be realistic, and special effects are basically free, right? You know, there are no special effects. You just draw whatever you want to do. So yeah, maybe I should have some like really dramatic outro kind of thing, like a conclusion, like, oh man, anime, it changed my life. I don't know where I would be if I hadn't watched Kirito as a child. Even if I don't respect him anymore, he really changed my life. Seriously though, anime is pretty cool. I do enjoy it. I hope it becomes more popular in the upcoming years. That's all I really have to say about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to leave me a comment letting me know what you thought about it. If you like these kind of videos, if you're happy that I'm back from my hiatus, you're probably not. Probably no one gives a shit, but whatever. I'm coming back, and I am going to be doing 3 videos a week for sure. I'm telling you boys, I've said that a lot, but everything changes right now. In fact, at the time that I am recording this video is going to be a day where I make 3 videos in one day. So get fucking pumped. It's going to be awesome. If you have not already, make sure to check the link in the description to the Discord. Make sure to join that. It's super easy. There's basically nothing you have to do for sign up. No problem at all. You can join, and we have tons of text channels to talk about One Piece and different anime and manga, as well as voice channels that people are pretty active in talking about the same kind of stuff. It's fun. There's a lot of cool people there, a lot of regulars, a lot of people who just show up every once in a while. It's a cool place. Make sure to check that if you have not already. I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day, a fantastic end to your weekend, and I will talk to you guys on Wednesday.